This is the Jackery Solar Generator 5000 Plus. The headline for me is simple. During a storm when my neighborhood went dark, my refrigerator kept humming, my internet stayed online, and the lights in my office never flickered. I think of this as a serious portable power station with solar charging, built for people who actually need to run real household appliances or keep an entire setup stable during an outage. It is not a pocket battery for your phone. It is for homeowners who want reliable backup, for people with recreational vehicles who travel off-grid, and for anyone who wants independence from a wall outlet for more than a few hours. The design surprised me. It looks clean and modern with a matte finish, and it feels much more refined than the typical rugged box. None of that matters if it is a pain to move, and this is where it gets thoughtful. There are 4 solid wheels and a retractable handle that make a 130-pound power station, something I can roll over bricks, the driveway, and the patio without straining. Going upstairs is still a chore, and I would not attempt it alone, but moving it around a level space genuinely feels like pulling a large suitcase. The build quality inspires confidence. The shell resists scuffs, the handles do not flex, and the ports are laid out so I am not bending cables in awkward ways. The interface is the part I interact with most, and it is actually pleasant. The liquid crystal display is large and easy to read at a glance. I can see remaining battery, input from solar or from the wall, and total output. The buttons are chunky and have a satisfying click. I can tap on the alternating current section or the direct current section with gloves on, and it registers every time. There is a row of universal serial bus ports for phones and tablets, a direct current car socket for camping gear, and multiple household outlets tied to the inverter. There is also a dedicated generator-style outlet for connecting to a smart transfer switch, which is how I integrated it with my home circuits. Getting it set up was very straightforward. I paired it with the Jackery mobile application on my phone in a minute. The application shows charge and discharge in real time and lets me turn sections on and off without walking over to the unit. It works over Bluetooth when I am nearby and through my home wireless network when I am elsewhere in the house. The solar panels fold out and click into place quickly, which I appreciated because I did not want to chase down straps or extra pieces. I set them in the yard, used the kickstands, aimed for the sun, and they started feeding power right away. In decent sunlight, the 2 500-watt panels gave me around 520 watts. That was consistent over multiple days, and it matched what I saw on the display. The smart transfer switch was the most intimidating part before I tried it. I had a licensed electrician install it, so I could choose a few essential circuits to back up. After that, using it was easy. When my utility power cut out during a wind gust, the switch flipped to the Jackery so fast that my desktop did not shut down, and my internet router never dropped the connection. If you have ever had a computer lose power mid-project, you know exactly why that matters. The transfer felt seamless, and there was no frantic scramble to plug in extension cords. Performance is where this system earned my trust. I ran my refrigerator and my microwave at the same time without any drama. The inverter did not complain, and the display made it clear what I was drawing. I tested both 120-volt and 240-volt output through the transfer switch with my water heater, and it handled the surge and the continuous draw without a wobble. I would not call that a casual test. Heating elements are demanding, and if a power station is going to stumble, it usually happens there. In my case, it stayed stable. I was curious about charging an electric vehicle in a pinch, so I tried my Tesla. Using the dedicated outlet, it started charging immediately. No, it is not the speed of a full home charger, but for an emergency top-up or to add a few miles overnight, it actually works. That feels like a safety net when travel plans are tight or when the grid is down longer than expected. Noise matters in a living space. The box claims under 30 decibels, and to my ears, it is a mild hum. I left it running in the corner of my office while I edited this video, and I forgot it was there. The fans spin up when the inverter is pushed or when charging hard, but the sound never crosses into annoying. That quiet operation is a bigger deal than the marketing sheet suggests because it means I can keep it in a hallway or a home office without anyone complaining. In day-to-day use, I noticed how predictable the battery drain became. Powering a refrigerator, a few lights, my router, and occasionally a laptop, I could comfortably make it through an evening and into the next morning with charge left. When the sun came up, those panels started adding energy back. With just 2 panels, it is not a rapid refill if you have been running heavy loads. I would call it steady and reliable. On a clear afternoon, I watched it climb from roughly half to comfortably full while I worked in the garden and kept the refrigerator going. If I wanted faster solar charging, or if I planned to run larger appliances for multi-day outages, I would add more panels. The system supports linking additional battery units too, which is a big deal for longer trips or storm seasons. Expanding storage is straightforward once you read the manual, and yes, reading the manual is worth the time. Real-life tests are where the differences show up. One weekend I powered a backyard movie night. I ran a projector, a compact speaker, string lights, and kept a small fridge cold for drinks. The draw stayed well within the inverter comfort zone, and it was quiet enough that nobody noticed the power source. During a heavy rain when my area lost power twice in one evening, it switched over instantly and kept my home network, a lamp, and the fridge running. I cooked a quick meal in the microwave and watched the power readout climb and drop in a way that felt very transparent. Seeing exactly what I am using in real time changes how I think about energy. There are quirks. The unit is heavy. Those wheels and the retractable handle make a huge difference on flat ground, but getting it into the back of a truck or up a flight of stairs is not a one-person job. The solar panels are easy to set up and carry, but if you want to maximize charging speed, 2 panels will feel conservative. I also had a small learning curve with the smart transfer switch settings and with the expandable battery management. None of it is complicated, but you do better after one afternoon of experimenting and reading. Once I learned the flow, I stopped thinking about it and just used it. A specific use case that has become routine for me is a workday in the yard. I set the panels on the patio angled toward the sun. I plug in my laptop charger, my camera battery chargers, a router for a wireless camera feed, and a small fan in the shed. I run everything for hours while filming, and I glance at the display to make sure I am net neutral or barely discharging. The feeling of working without running extension cords or worrying about the next outlet is hard to give up once you experience it. When I wrap up, I roll the unit back inside, park it near a wall outlet, and top it off. A few thoughtful touches stand out. The mobile application is surprisingly useful. I can check input and output while I am on the couch, and I can turn the inverter section on or off from the phone. The display has a clean layout that is easy to read even outdoors. The port layout prevents cable clutter, and the way it integrates with a home through the smart transfer switch changes how you think about backup power. It feels like part of the house instead of a tool you only touch during an emergency. The option to add more battery units gives me a clear upgrade path if my needs grow. Knowing that I can start with a solid core and expand later matters more than a flashy spec sheet. I want to be careful not to oversell what this is. If you only need to keep phones and a couple of small gadgets charged on a weekend camping trip, this is more power and more weight than you need. If you are looking for something lightweight that you can carry up 3 flights of stairs, this is not it. If your goal is a dependable backup that can keep real appliances running, that can hand off power to your home without a pause, that can accept meaningful solar input, and that you can manage from your phone, then it fits that role really well. It is built like a piece of serious equipment. It runs quietly, and in my testing it has been predictable and trustworthy. I would recommend it to homeowners in storm-prone areas, to people with cabins or trailers who want off-grid comfort without a gas engine, and to anyone who wants backup power that behaves more like a silent battery room and less like a gadget. I would not recommend it to someone who just needs to top off a phone and a tablet. The more you ask of it, the more its strengths show up, especially when you pair it with solar and a transfer switch. I will leave it here. I rely on it now the same way I rely on my electrical panel. That trust came from actually running appliances, from watching it take over during outages without drama, and from the fact that I barely notice it while it works. That is what I want from backup power. I'll leave the details about the Jackery Solar Generator 5000 Plus in the comments for you to check out. See you in the next video.